Hex, all of it, as a long-term deal. And, I mean, talk about feeling the pain at the time. I mean, infamously, this is not new news to anybody that's been around and heard the story before, but September of 2021, I had a hex stake come out that was 20 million hex. At the time, that was $10 million, right? So it's like I'm pretty well off, but $10 million would have made a big change in my life, right? And instead of cashing any of it out, and my fiance was even like, "Are you sure you don't want to take a little bit off the table?" And I'm like, "Well, I got some gaps in my staking ladder, so I filled my gaps." I still think hex is going to, blow people's minds. Stop looking at price. There's two times you need to be worried about price: if you're buying or if you're selling. If you're not buying and you're not selling, stop and torturing yourself by looking at the charts, and you want to know. And if you've got a game plan to take some profits this cycle, you want to know when it's happening. But that doesn't mean like just sweating 15-minute charts all day, every day, and just making yourself sick. Because it's like, I did that. I was a trader in 2017, 2018. I was losing sleep. I was losing hair. It was costing me, points in my relationship. It was not a healthy way to live. And so I've kind of got a different mentality about, what we've been through. And then, and don't listen to the boo birds out there. There's people that are always going to take like the most negative angle on things. These guys out there saying, "Oh, you're down, we're down 99%. It's like, I'm not down 99%. I don't know anybody that's down 99%. Like, you literally got to find that guy that bought the very tippity top and rode it all the way to the bottom. And then it's rebounded off the bottom, so he's not even down 99%. So who's down 99%? Like, these people have an agenda. Like, they are either looking for clout so they can get more followers on, like, God bless Jim Rad, but the kid's not, he's got it twisted, and maybe he's trying to build his following, so he's being super hyperbolic about everything. And there's other guys that have done the same shit. I've watched it over and over again where they just say the most outrageous shit because people glom onto it and then they repeat it. But that's one of the reasons I love Crispy, is because he's a numbers guy. I'm a numbers guy. And like, that's what it boils down to. It's like, if you zoom out a little bit and just look at the math and listen and stop listening to all the speculation and the emotional takes on things, it's going to be better for everybody.
Well, that was a great take and lots of great information. I got a question for you. So if you had $10 million at that time, would you do the same thing now, knowing what you know now?
Fuck no.
Okay,
Absolutely,
good.
absolutely not. But the thing is like, you
Good.
got to think at the time, like,
Yeah.
Pulsechain hadn't released yet, so you were going to get double your tokens, right?
Hmm.
I knew that 52 to 56 cents was the top. I knew it. And the reason I knew it is because everybody, and I was telling the guy, like Maddie and like all the other Hexo, all of them were doing this thing where it was like 10,000X is 52 cents, 56 cents. I'm like, no, it's not. No, it's not. That's from the bottom. That's not from the launch. And I knew it was going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. And I actually had limit orders in place on Matcha to take some profit. Not tons, but some, right? Take some money off the table. And I canceled the limit orders. And my thinking was like, this is silly. It's like, it could continue to run. And also, even if it doesn't continue to run, I don't want to sell if, my copies are 4 weeks away. Now, granted, it was much longer than 4 more weeks than September of 2021 before we finally got our copies. But hey, I got plenty of P-Hex and plenty of E-Hex. My staking ladders are solid. I still add to them. Hindsight's 2020. Had I known it was all going to take this long and I was going to have an opportunity to buy my bags back for fractions of what they were, certainly I would have taken some money off the table and then bought back in and DCA'd with what I took off the top. But that's not what I did. I did the best with the information that was available to me at the time, and I didn't need the money. We just sold. We were in the process of selling our family business. I was flush with cash at the time and didn't really have any debt. I don't have any kids. So to me, it was like, do I need, like, why would I take even $1 million and put it into fiat? That was my logic. Like, there's no upside. As well let it ride in this DeFi project and see how it plays out over time. Because, for me, it was always a long-term play. It's like, I didn't build a 15-year staking ladder to get out in 3.
That makes sense.
I don't think people quite understand. There's a million things that are going to trip you up in so many different directions, right? I don't think people are fully, and I don't think one can be fully aware of how tricky and manipulative and crazy this game of money is. When you deal with money, This is a straight up money game, right? This is where all the devils and all the tricks lie in every direction. And what seems like the 95% best move uh, is actually the wrong move at different times. And the same thing is going to materialize in every single person's life here on their crypto journey. Right, it's gonna manifest in a different way. So you have to know your enemy and know what arena you're in.
Do you see Pulsechain going back to Sac rate? Yes, I do. I think that's probably the easiest question out here. Yes, I do. Have I seen the P-wrapped BTC pulse ratio? I didn't, but I did notice that P-wrapped BTC is it's making a nice little run up. I think what was it like $250 or something like that, and then now it's like over 600. That's pretty good, and that happened all in, I mean, again, this probably happened all in what, like 90 days. I have faith in P-wrapped BTC. I just, it's like one of those speculation plays where I'm not betting the house on it, but of course, like why? In my head, when it was $250, I said, why not? Like regularly, I'm going to DCA roughly like probably this amount, maybe a little bit more into Pulsechain anyway. So it was like a little lottery ticket, I'd say. I'm not hating on it. I have more conviction on the core coins doing really well than I do like P copies pegging to real copies. But respectfully, of course. If it could be done, that's cool, man. Like I'm not here to like say like I don't want to ever see it happen, because I think like that is extraordinary. If you're able to bring the number one asset in the world in cryptocurrency to Pulsechain in a way where even the P copies are doing really well within that, and people are LPing and all that good stuff, yeah, that'd be cool. Do I think it's likely to happen that way? I don't know. Maybe they have their own value, and maybe that value still grows exponentially, right? Like just because something doesn't peg, it doesn't mean that it can't achieve that price, right? So before they officially broke the MakerDAO into not being able to mint new supply, pdai could go to $1. Does it peg to $1? I don't know. I would probably assume that if it does peg, I'm not so sure that it was Richard doing it, but do I think it can go to $1? pdai, I would probably say like if all the core coins move the way that they've been and what we think they will do, yeah. And you can't deny that. I mean, like the pdai chart, Richard showed it off. Like he said that he doesn't show things that he doesn't want to be responsible for wrecking people. So was that a mistake on his end? Does he regret that? I don't know. But all I can say is I'm here for all the good stuff, and whatever bad stuff gets thrown our way, I'm just going to waver through it. And yeah, that's pretty much like my take on that whole thing, by the way. Like I don't have any ill intentions towards people who want that stuff to happen, but I also am not holding my breath for it. So let's see. Any other questions? Speculation about the 6th the 6th of July. Because that is the day that it is the day that the SEC stuff is like permanently gone, I believe. Maybe we get a video. I don't know if we get a live stream, but maybe we get a video. Maybe we get like a good little like leg up. Maybe we get, from where we're at in price now, if we could just like simply just 2x from now, I think that's probably a more likely scenario to then head into like more bullish territory throughout the rest of the summer. But I actually do. I had a theory that in the wintertime, I said, it's probably what could happen is like when we start to get like enough capital flowing through and, looking at the Pulsex ratio to Pulse, I said, we could be staring at close to a 1-to-1. And I mean, damn near we're almost staring right at it. What are we like 0.8 something of a Pulsex equals the Pulse? I mean, by the time it's all said and done, you probably see Pulsex or a Pulse to Pulsex. You probably see a 2-to-1, where it takes 2 Pulse to get equal to 1 Pulsex. I think that's definitely in the cards, and I do think at some point this cycle, obviously, I do think we do see a Pulsex out ratio Pulse, but I don't think it's going to be like anything crazy. Like I don't think it'll be like a 6 Pulse equals 1 Pulsex. I don't think it'll be like that large of a gap. I just think that, like, I don't know, we could see, like I said, 2 pulse equaling 1 pulsex, maybe even 3 pulse equaling 1 pulsex. But I do think they ratio decently together just because of pump.tires and the fact that there are other like buy and burns to pulse that people have done like already simultaneously. So who knows? But I do think PulseX is the cheapest core coin to accumulate that could possibly do better than Hex. Possibly. I don't know if it'll happen that way, but man, when you're just burning supply and there is no emissions, look, I get it. Like, yes, in a form, it's a tax token, right? But this isn't just your regular tax token, right? Like this actually has real utility. It has real value. If you think the ecosystem is going to do well, PulseX is just already like just check it, green check mark, because PulseX is going to have the most liquidity. It's going to have the most trading volume through it. Yes, could there be other aggregators and could there be other dexes where whales decide to park like $5 million like out of nowhere? Sure, right? But is that likely to happen? I don't know. I think at least for this cycle, PulseX is not only the leading DEX, but it could also be the leading core token. So if people are seeing the buy and burn function on it, I think they're just going to want to put their money in the DEX where the token is like incredibly deflationary, and it's going to burn PulseX. Just guys, hang in there and be positive, man. You're seeing what other direction people are going in, and how well is that working for them? It's like, oh, before we even have real movement, you're blocked by the founder. Yippee, yay. Like, okay, the other direction that people are choosing to go inside of a bull market where, this could be like a really good cycle for altcoins, especially Pulsechain. You have a founder that is very hungry to get out there, I'd say. Like, just from how active he's been on X, some certain stuff that he's had on, I forget, there was an app that he told everyone to download to like try to get this the shipping thing handled under charities and such. So could that have been him? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's not. But I do think regardless, like, he is very active right now. And I think something tells me that all last year and even through the winter, like when he put out that Christmas video, like I bet you he probably was like to his lawyers, he's probably like, can I just put out a pre-recorded AI footage with like my voice? And they're probably like, I don't know, Richard. And he's probably like, guys, it's fine. And they're probably like, okay. Like, I guarantee you, like he probably has to like really tread waters carefully, and it pisses him off so bad because the person he is, like, I actually think, now it might be counter to what everyone else thinks, I think this chain has been pretty successful. The price doesn't have to reflect the success of a chain immediately. We could have done that with Bitcoin. We could have done that with Ethereum. We could have done it to all these coins out here. And look, they stuck around, they dipped 90-some%, and then they always climb their way back up. Now, what makes you think technology that Pulsechain possesses, the no counterparty risk, the chain of freedom of speech, freedom of movement, freedom of assembly, why is this chain not going to do well then? Explain it to me. Why? Because it's DeFi. Anybody could come in. A wallet doesn't necessarily have a name on it. Why do people think that there isn't going to be money coming on chain except for like Richard doing it? Like, why do you assume that? Now I want to be honest here. Could he put a cherry on top of things and really send things to ridiculous levels? Yes, I believe that because that's who he is, stuff like that will happen. But I don't think he is the main premise of where the capital is going to flow into. Like, I don't believe that. And I know people really can't have that vision, that foresight of like, oh yeah, this could work, or oh, that could work, or whatever. Like, I know people are just about the now and they're looking at the chart and they're like, yeah, but we're still down. And it's like, well, yeah, man. Look at boring chains, right? This is where I get very bullish and optimistic, because even the so-called competition has nothing. They don't have anything compared to us. What does Cardano have other than investigating what happened to that 600 million ADA that Charles embezzled? And why are they selling Cardano to buy Bitcoin? Come on. If you think ADA is going to go surpass all-time highs and you don't think Pulsechain is, I don't know, man. We're just not watching the same movie, I guess. Maybe you haven't seen a lot of Richard videos because there is nothing absolutely nothing that suggests to me that this man wants to look across the road and look at things like XRP, Cardano, all these things just magnificently outperformed Richard's stuff. I don't know, man. I don't know if you guys have seen all the content then, because there's nothing that suggests that from Richard, at least from what I've seen. And you could hate on the man. You cannot like some of his decision makings. You can do all that. There is one thing you absolutely cannot do, which is think that he's going to let guys like that have the last laugh over guys like him, guys who brought so much value and utility to the space, guys like him who are willing to do 5-hour live streams and debunk a Bitcoin maximalist from spewing out false information to their followers. I don't know, man. Like I said, I might be watching a different movie than you guys then, because there's nothing that suggests that Richard walks away a loser in this bull run. Nothing. There's nothing that even like signals that at all. And I would be very honest with you guys. If the SEC case, he didn't win, the Interpol stuff started kicking up. There's more like, hey, we're looking for so-and-so. And they made like this whole official announcement. And then, like all of that stuff would be bare. And I would be like, oh, guys, I mean, I'm not saying that this chain isn't going to do well for the long term, but right now it's looking shaky. I would go on and I would admit that stuff to you guys, because I have no problem lying, or I have no issue not lying to you guys. Like I look at this space as like, when I'm talking to you guys, it's like I'm talking to like my friends and family, where it's like I've onboarded people into Pulsechain, not nearly to the degree that most people have, but like there's some little small money and little here and there, and I have a wallet for this. Like I feel morally responsible to be like upfront about stuff, and I just don't see that. This is a bull run where I think the reasoning why there's so much hesitation, fear, and scares and scared actions and whatever, it's designed that way. That's the best way for whales to accumulate. That's the best way to get you guys out. That's the best way for them to have a price, an entry point that you don't have. You are the exit liquidity planning strategy. People who, purposely faded Ethereum, didn't speak about it, didn't bring it up on the news and whatever, is all done purposefully. Ethereum was meant to be kind of just tucked away and waiting for them to make all the little regulatory things that they need passed, which, we saw the stablecoin stuff. Stablecoin stuff is pretty critical in a time where the dollar is worthless. So then now we're looking at things like, what can peg that dollar value to things, right? Like what can we do to, subsidize like the entry point for people in the crypto markets? Well, you got to print more stables. You have to have regulatory clarity behind those stables. Now, even though I don't agree with that stuff, like I don't agree with the what was it? What was the bill called? Something Act. It was with the stable coin. But yeah, I didn't agree with it at all. Like it was very one-sided. It looked like, so USDC is pretty much the only thing that's kind of safe, and then everything else you're gonna have to file paperwork and do this and do that. Like there really isn't any true DeFi out there yet for a stable coin. Now, I'm not trying to lead into the pdai stuff, but this again would be a big W if Richard's able to solve like the stable coin thing, because in my opinion, like there needs to be a way where you have value on chain without people thinking that it's a risk, right? So that's like the big thing with stable coins, is it's like the least risky thing you could do. And that can solve putting up liquidity and earning yield and so on and so forth. So I think there's a lot of stuff that we just don't see yet, and I don't think we're supposed to know about yet. But when it happens, it just happens, and that's how all bull markets work. Like when someone had Dogecoin at 3 zeros and a 6. If you would have told somebody, yeah, you should hold on to your Dogecoin because it's going to like 60, 70 cents or whatever, people would go, no, it's not. You know what I mean? Like, no, it's not. What are you, crazy? It's a meme coin. It's a dog. And it happened. So I don't know why you would be bearish on things that it's like, you have utility, you have product market fit, you have you have time deposits and Hex that addresses the longevity of your money. You have Pulsex that addresses a buy and burn market where, the token just becomes more scarce because there's going to be a lot more volume coming through that DEX. You have Pulse, which is the gas token, network token, it's still going to be worth a lot of money in the future. Because it is a better Ethereum, it solves more issues than Ethereum. Eventually, people are going to notice, and that supply and demand effect will kick in, and maybe you're not so prompted to get off the gas token because the gas token went from this to this. And so, if it's on a similar trajectory path to Ethereum, then yeah, you might not want to fade it. You might want to accumulate, but it's probably the last core token that I seriously consider getting, just because like I feel like with the type of activity that I do, I have enough pulse. Maybe enough's never enough, but for right now, I think I do. INC is a wild card because everyone and this is I talk about this a little bit too, where like when we see the rest of the core coins like really spike up in value, INC is going to have, in my opinion, the most sell pressure, because there's going to be a lot of whales that they didn't buy this token. They were just rewarded it. So you're telling me a token that was given to them essentially for providing liquidity, they look at it as like a free token, because most of these people were pooling Pulse and Pulsex. So they probably got more Pulsex anyway. So they're happy about that. So now they're going to look at INC and go, I'm seeing the buy and burns on Pulsex. I'm seeing the T shares grow really extremely scarce in Hex. Maybe I want to fade INC for Hex and Pulsex. Or maybe you're like, man, I did a lot of on-chain stuff. My gas is running low. Then yeah, I might have to swap some of this for Pulse. And then that's why I think you're going to see the most sell pressure on Ink, but it does have the most upside. If whales want to let that token run, man, it has the potential to perform like second or definitely third, I'd imagine, but definitely it could fight for that second spot to price up in gains from bottom to top of this cycle. Imagine, you see the bottom of INC at 40 cents. Even if it goes to $400, guys, that's a big run. Big run. That's not $40,000, but $400, shit. I mean, it's probably in the cards to see somewhere a little higher than that, like depending. But again, these coins are on a super duper fire sale. Also, I had a good space with the PTGC guys. It was good talking to Zen. It was good. Kind of like, I didn't even know UFO had a farm. So I'm glad that I learned that. I didn't even know that. Bullish, right? But yeah, got people who are a net positive to Pulse Chain like PTGC and UFO, and trying to think of some others. I mean, there's some others that I'm just like I'm blanking on for whatever reason, but there are good meme coins on chain. Not all meme coins are good. Some of them are very terrible. Some of them are rugs. Some of them are honeypots. Some of them are they're just a net negative overall. Especially if the if the whales have all this access to the bid side liquidity, they decide to sell into a token, they decide to run up their liquidity pools on the bid side, and then they yank it. You have some of those too. And actually some of those people got caught, and now they're a little angry. Now all of a sudden it's Richard's fault, right? A fine line between like belief and expectation, I think. So my belief is that this chain is going to do really well. Now, the expectation is it pinpoints it specifically to a number. I would be happy with 1,000x for sure. Do I expect it? I don't know. It's like one of those things like, could it happen this cycle or could it happen next cycle? I'm more prompted to believe that it will happen this cycle, but again, I could be burned at the cross for this statement, right? Like we could only go up maybe, we could go up a 500x, and then people, they see this and they go, remember you said 1,000x, and it's like, oh geez, man, 500x is still 500x. So I don't know. I'm here for it. I'm happy to see 100x, 500x, 1,000x, 10,000x. I'd really love, but it really doesn't matter. I mean, like I have my Hex stakes, I have my legacy Pulsex bags, I have my nice little speculative INC plays. There's a couple different meme coins that I take a fancy to, but outside of that, man, it's like I'm here. I'm here for the community. I'm here because I believe in Richard's products. I believe in Richard, the founder. And the fact that you see like strong faces in the community, like even more so than myself, like you have people here like Tam Tam. Tam Tam's been here way longer than I have. She's been doing a good job at promoting the brand, staying on point with the brand and not letting emotions really get to her at all when it comes to advertising Pulsechain or Hex or whatever. So I think that next bear cycle is going to be very interesting. We're going to see who's around. Take note. Who's here today? Who is going to be here when we had the euphoria and whatever? And then now it's back down to boring times for like 3.5 years. Because those are the true believers of this chain, and I'm looking forward to seeing that as well. Like I would like to be around, right? But I can't tell the future. I can't tell what's going to happen. That's just me being honest. But like I do want to stick around. I do want to be here for the long run. I believe in the community. So I mean, I don't see like why not. But yeah, anything could happen. I mean, like circumstances could change where you have all this capital, right? And like you're just busy trying to do life. You're on building new ventures, adding to your own life legacy outside of cryptocurrency. You might not be around as much, but I mean, I definitely think that I'll be around a good amount. But there's going to be a lot of people that they might not have necessarily left, but they're just busy. They're getting stuff that they need to get done because they've invested 3.5 years into something, and now's the time to maybe cut a little profits off, get the house you've wanted, pay for your kids' college the way you wanted to, maybe even pay off your own student debt. There's going to be a lot of different things that people are going to do in the bear market, but notice who is going to be there, even talking positively afterwards. And even when it's like real boring, like when people start trickling in after all that money's gone and they're like, oh, let's see who's on X, like a year after the top of the cycle, that's who you should be. That's honestly, if you want to see who's here a year after the top of the cycle, those people are probably going to be around for a while, at least until the next top, because maybe they bought the tops and now they have to shill at the bottom so that they could get their investment back. What's going on, Rackham? How you doing today? Good to see you drop in. But back on topic, this next 90 days, it's going to be a very interesting time in cryptocurrency. We have marketing on the way in Pulsechain. We have regulatory clarity being, addressed within the United States. We have a lot of like world activity surrounding itself around cryptocurrency and the strategic reserves and how they're going to build off of stuff. You know what, guys? Do something interesting. This is how you know Ethereum's not dead. Look at the Bitcoin, which is BlackRock's stable coin, I believe. It's worth 99 cents to $1. Look at all the chains that they have that on, and you tell me if you think Ethereum's dead. You can go on CoinGecko. You can click the tab, which networks support the Bitcoin, BlackRock's stablecoin. You'll see it right there. All you need to know. Mostly L2s off of Ethereum. Ethereum's not going anywhere. Even if people wanted to go somewhere, it's not. It definitely isn't. The longer that they kept price down like this, the more bullish I got, because they could have just let Ethereum have this mediocre cycle and let Solana do the real shining and have some of these L2s boost up some retail optimism, whatever. They're waiting on purpose because they know that the big spike and the big boom has yet to come. And it's all just too early. They don't have the like I said, the Stablecoin Act, the other rules and regulations they're trying to pass with cryptocurrency to create a good framework for big institutions to start pouring in, not to just like Ethereum and stuff, but like to actual true DeFi as well. I think we all underestimate just because we're so early and we haven't seen the work pay off yet. But there are people with large amounts of capital that seriously think about Pulsechain. They look at all the different areas that it addresses. It addresses a lot of things that investors like. Hex is a big one. We look at the T shares and we're looking at, oh, but this person has this and this person has that. You don't know what's going to hold in the future, guys. You don't know that maybe all it takes is a run up to 50 cents or $1. And that person with a large amount of Hex, maybe they have accumulated, maybe they haven't met their whole stake yet. Maybe they're just past their halfway point. Maybe they're just willing to give up their yield, right? And they're just like, I like this dollar Hex. I have millions of them. So whatever. I'm just going to take it and run because I don't know if it's going to get better than this. Well, you know, like, but then like after those people are out, then the fun really can happen, because then the T shares become more scarce. The supply that's going to be out on the market, it might not be as much as people think. So it might not be, you know, all these imaginary horribles, like Richard says, like that people like to introduce to like the possibility realm. You also have to account for like the actual like imaginary like hopium stuff too, where like we do have good tech. It just isn't being utilized. But that doesn't dismiss that it's not good tech. You know what I mean? So it just takes people wanting to go out and search and know what they're looking for. And honestly, most of cryptocurrency is still like, you know, you're trying to read like an ancient Rosetta Stone of some sort. Like it's just, it's like you're trying to read cuneiform tablets. Like most people just don't understand things yet. But the way that Bitcoin is being introduced to the public, the way that they're talking about cryptocurrencies, but they're saying digital assets and stuff, I'm telling you guys, like Pulsechain is I mean, the way that people look at Pulsechain, you have to look at it like this: brand new chain, 2.5 years old, whatever. It's been at a top 5 on Dex Screener for EVM chains in volume since like what, last September, I think. Well, probably even before that, but I started noticing it in September, late September. A lot of people are going to realize that. A lot of people go through Dex Screener. A lot of people like to chase green candles. I do think we have a lot of those, and I do think we have a lot of cool things with meme coins that still have to be, you know, addressed. Maybe there's some single side staking stuff. Maybe there's some cool sharing of revenue of some sort. Who knows, guys? It's all speculation, but to think that Richard isn't going to be competitive with people like Solana, people, you know, like who are trying to shill things on base protocol, I don't know, guys. Don't know. I'm not willing to bet against the man. I'm just not, and I don't think I ever will. I'm smart enough to know who's who in the space, and yeah, definitely not wanting to go against the man who just buys a Ferrari for a documentary purpose. Buys a couple of them. He's in it for the fame, the glory, all that good stuff, and I believe it. So if you don't believe it, I don't know what you're doing here, but I happen to think that I put my money where there's a good founder who expects the chain to progress and do well. So I can't save y'all if you don't think the same, but all I can do is just give you my honest take and my honest opinion on it. So I'm not sure if it'll be a stream per se, but I do think he might put out a video, might explain things a little bit better, like what's going on, like what's here, you know, how to what's being distributed or whatever it is, like, you know, probably something like that. I don't think it'll be a live stream. If it is a live stream, man, I'm here for it. We've been chopping sideways for a week now. Feels like the calm before the storm. Absolutely. Yeah, William, I don't know if you remember this. Oh, he's not here anymore, but we were speaking like, yeah, I mean, like for INC, for an example, because I like looking at the INC chart on Pulsechain rather than the actual Pulsechain chart, because I think INC gives you the story of the true believers in the community, which when I mean that, I mean the people who provide liquidity, the people that, you know, are holding on to this token because of its potentials for, you know, what's next to come. INC has not been, you know, I think it went below $1.29 like briefly recently, but it was on a wick. And I said, if we go below $1.25, that's like a good fire sale entry for INC. And, you know, depending on if INC moved down that low, we'd probably expect to see the core coins go back to, you know, touching those like close to the previous all-time lows. But I don't think we retraced like that full amount. Like I don't think we give up that much of our run, but if we did, it would be on a wick, and it would be like, hey, this is a good fire sale. No, not financial advice, but yeah. But it seems that we are looking to, you know, if anything, we're treading sideways. We're being patient. I think a lot of whales are being patient. There was this one guy dumping a lot of Pulsex. Who knows who that is, by the way, because again, we don't know what kind of games are being played on us where it's like, are people trying to fake us out, or, you know, like, so I don't know. Like if you're a whale, the only reason you sell the way that you were selling like that is if you have a signal in the market where like You think you can get a better entry lower, or you're allowing people to buy in at a certain price as well because of how much supply you're unclipping. So it might have been a benevolent move to be like, hey, last chance, all aboard, get on the train. Others probably looked at it as like, hey, this guy's going to dump. It's going to go all very, very low and whatever. Yeah, but if you're a whale and you're examining Pulsechain, and not only Pulsechain but the whole crypto market, and you have that much supply of something that you know is probably going to go at least a 20x, I don't think you don't sell it that way unless you know that there's going to be cheaper entries, or you're allowing people to get in at cheaper entries. That's another reason. So how much Pulsex do you think will be burned before next bear cycle? Crypto and coffee. This might be a question for you. Okay. We were talking about this a little bit ago. I think we're like, not to like share like what we were chatting about, but like we did say like there was like probably going to be a lot of Pulsex being burnt. Like, could we get rid of 20% of the supply, possibly, of the circulating supply? Not like the total, like including what the OA has. Like obviously that would be kind of crazy. But let's say, for example, like we got rid of like 20% of the circulating supply, not counting the OA's wallet. I think it's feasible, especially if we pick up a lot more on-chain traffic for sure. And especially if they're using Pulsex, which I think they will, especially if retail money comes in and they look at green candles and they're chasing them. And so, just by bridging in and trying to get to Pulsex, you're burning Pulsex. So yeah, I'd say like 15% to 20% is of the circulating supply burned after the top of this market into the bear market. It's pretty reasonable. I mean, at least in my opinion, it is. I don't know. I mean, we burned over 7% already, and there's like essentially nothing going on except for like, the little itty bitty money that's been going on chain now. It's like, we're able to erase 7% of the supply now, and like we have like a quarter of the community saying they're going to Chia. We have another quarter of the community that's like making tokens and rugging people. We have another like that's all that's really going on, and like still it's like 7% of Pulsex is gone forever. Well, in the circulating supply. But I think it's like a 1%, almost 2% of the total supply, including whatever the OA has, which is still a good amount of burns, guys. It really is. It's not like now there have been people that have said some ridiculous numbers, and they've shown ridiculous numbers. And I am not advocating for those ridiculous numbers. Would I accept it? Yes. Am I saying logically that can happen this cycle? Maybe not. Now, bull case, I think if everything goes in our favor, we have a really good bull run. We get to that 1000x whatever from the bottom. That's a good bull run in my opinion. A really, 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 really good one. Now, the 10,000x one is just pure speculation if you think Richard is going to, amplify how many, like, if maybe that's his little push up to just say, like, yeah, all these core coins did a 10,000x from the bottom. But, I think even 100 to 500 to 1000x, that's a really, really good bull run, especially if you were buying lows, which I know I was, but maybe you weren't. Maybe you just sat on your sack bag and, complained the entire time. That's on you. But even still, those people are still going to get really good returns on their sacrifice. It just, it's just going to take some time and patience, guys. I mean, that's really all it comes down to. Until we see the rest of the market it's bearish all around except Bitcoin. So again, I think we're higher in the competition rankings than I think a lot of people are willing to give credit where it's due. And I don't know if you guys noticed this too, but I'll go on like Cointelegraph. I'll go to their channels and be like, hey, where's Pulsechain? Why aren't you talking about Pulsechain? Pulsechain? Like, I will annoy them. I don't care, because I think it's disrespectful and it's dishonest to disclude us from these conversations. It's funny, like people use us for engagement for, like Binance, for an example. Binance just tells Grok to make an image that is going to spike engagement from our community to make their numbers look better. They've done that numerous times this year. So one of the Binance, right, is engage farming Pulsechain for numbers. That lets you know who's who. Are we doing that? Are we doing that to Charles? Not really. Are we doing that to Vitalik? Not really. Are we doing any subliminal AI, things to get CZ's attention? Nope. But everyone does it for Richard and everyone who's in Richard's community, right? So think about that, guys. I mean, it's real. Like we have something that a lot of people are jealous about, which is not just the tech, it's also the community. These people wish they could make AI bots that were as real as us when it comes to our engagement and stuff. They wish they had authentic people going on spaces like these and talking about their brand. They wish that stuff. We don't wish that, we are doing it. This is like the tech, the community, the founder is all good enough to keep us here only talking about this community and not really caring what else is happening. You don't think that they're jealous over that stuff? You don't think that for 1 second they're like, man, I don't know, like we got to do something spectacular to get, some retail over here because like we're just going to lose to a DeFi community where we can't, like we can only like shun them out so much before eventually like the green candles are just going to attract everybody. They just are. And especially when you have you have all these products. Now, some people get mad because there isn't just one coin to rally behind, right? Like these aren't like the book of Genesis times on Ethereum, right? This is the New Testament now. This is what we got going on. We got this, we got this, we got this. We got all these use cases for these core tokens, right? They're all paired with each other. We all have, outside of the core coins, we have good products on chain. We have protocols that, 0% interest loans, right? We can grow our bags from this. We could do whatever we want. Like we have, what else do we have? We have other staking platforms. We have other farms. We have, other tokens that have cool like use cases that might not be a core token. Like Solana doesn't have this stuff. They have Solana, they have USDC, and they have Buttcoin or something. That's what they have. Okay. Like, yeah, like you could launch a pump.fun coin, maybe get some shared revenue from that or whatever. But I think we take for granted sometimes of like how cool and technologically innovative we can be. And we have this, we have like the Dunning-Kruger thing the opposite way, where we're so smart, but we think we're dumb. Like we think that we're not accomplishing as much as other people are. We're blowing past them. Like you should hear me try to talk about Pulsechain, guys. I am not the most technologically sound person. I'm not, okay? But even when I'm talking about Pulsechain to other people who claim that they're in cryptocurrency, who claim that they know what a seed phrase is, the difference between a seed phrase and your keys, like they're like, oh, isn't your seed phrase your keys? This is the type of people we're dealing with, guys. Like it's just the education just has to do the trickle down effect. The curiosity has to spike into people where, it just really takes momentum of green candles and community engagement speaking about the stuff in a good light. And that is what makes us successful in the long term. Like takes every single one of us, not just me, not just bigger influencers who have YouTube channels and stuff. It takes every single one of us. And the beautiful part about that is we're all up for that challenge. We will all sit there and have a conversation about Pulsechain and not really like worry too much about like, oh, well, I might have said this wrong or that, whatever. Pretty confident in what we're invested in. A lot of cryptocurrency people who claim that they're invested in stuff, they can't speak that confidently. There's people who buy XRP, they don't even know what XRP is. They're just buying it because they heard like, oh, look at the market cap. Oh, look, Brad Garlinghouse is on the news. Like, I don't know, guys. It's comical. It really is. But hey, we're in the midst of like when you have the brand new shiny toy object thing and others don't. Why do you think they're prompted to advertise you? Why do you think that like Cointelegraph? Like I was starting to think about it. Why would they promote Pulsechain? They probably don't. They have no allocation. You know what all these other coins, what all these other influencers who shout out these coins, they have allocation. Crypto Wendy, right? Gotta love Crypto Wendy, right? She's nice and whatever, but she also shills HBAR because she's paid to. She's sponsored by HBAR. When you're sponsored by somebody, they technically kind of own you, and whatever you speak on like in terms of like cryptocurrency. Like they're able to tell you like what to say and what not to say about other stuff too. You know, that's part of the game. A lot of people don't know this, but that is 100% the game. There's people like forget his name. His name's Zach something. This guy, there's DMs of him accepting allo from all these coins and then speaking about them and then dumping them as soon as he makes an episode on it, especially if it's a new coin. But he repetitively gets a paycheck from whether it's XRP people, whether it's ADA people, whatever it is, Solana. These people are getting paid to talk nicely about these things. You could tell they have a script to speak off of, like, you know, this, and this, and this is. It's like, dude, you are so unauthentic. It's crazy that you're this unauthentic and people still listen to you. Think about us being able to reach those people they're stupid enough to listen to this guy, right? But think about once they actually understand what they're hearing and interpret, then they start listening to people like us. Oh man. Oh man. It'll be like the red pill moment for them, where it's like, what? You mean to tell me ADA is not going to $50 and it's not a blue chip? Like, yes, that's correct. Yes, it's not that good compared, in comparison to us. It's not that good. The tech is not that good. Tell me this? Who is building on ADA right now? What are they building on ADA, and where's the innovation at? Other than like, here, bring your wrapped Bitcoin here and stake it. Oh, cool. So like you just handled like last bull cycle's like biggest like thing, where it's like, oh, where are we going to park and get yield? Oh, don't worry. Cardano came along chugging 8 years later to introduce something that people, even scammers who did terrible things to people, had better features than Cardano. Let that sink in, right? Hex, Pulsex, Pulse, INC, these are their first bull runs. They have all new charts, all new a whole different set of expectations, whole different set of a lot of stuff. Yes, people did sacrifice from, having their hex on Ethereum and stuff like that. Yes, of course, you sacrificed. But still a new chart on a whole different chain. And technically speaking, it's only 2.5 years old. So, that's really that's it. That's all there is to it. You're very early. If you don't like the way the price has been performing for you, do what's best for you. If you think selling the bottom is cool, sell the bottom, but you will be back. And if you do sell the bottom, you're kind of guaranteeing that you're going to buy highs, because as soon as you start to see green candles and you're like, oh, see, I guess Pulsechain is back. And then there you go, buying again at around sacrifice prices. And then maybe we have a little bit of a pullback because people got excited from that. So now you're like, oh, I'm down again. I'm wrecked. I knew I shouldn't have came back. And then you sell that. And then we make a next leg up at 2 zeros and a 1 or a 3 or whatever. And then you're like, oh, see, I guess we are going to a penny and whatever. So I'm clipping in. And then we retrace again back to where we were for the previous sac rate. You're going to get upset again. It's just the cycle. It just continues. How wrecked you are just keeps on happening to you. If your whole focus is to try to catch bottoms and tops, you're wrecked. But if you're here, time in the market, you understand what you hold, you've been dollar cost averaging responsibly and not degeneratively, you should be just fine.